came across a drifting ship. I took a look inside. I found a note that someone wrote that said take her for a ride. I set a course for sights unseen, went out to open sea. To my surprise, a bunch of sailors joined along with me. Now we're sailing on the mystery ship, and all you gotta do is join our trip. There isn't any cost of membership. All the sailors here are really hip. I'm the captain of the mystery ship, and I'm a-calling all aboard our trip. I'm really hoping that you'll enjoy it up on the mystery ship. So bring a friend and come along with us aboard the mystery ship.
Actually kind of cool to see Spudley in his cleaned up version, knowing that he's a long-haired, bearded hippie these days. How you doing out there? Hope everything is wonderful in your world. I wish I could say that it was in mine. Zoe is on a roll, baby. I am on a roll. It's been Monday all week. It's been Monday since last Sunday. But seriously, folks, how are you doing? One of the most aggravating things in the world to me is pulling the plug on one of my programs. The other thing that's extremely aggravating is showing up 14 minutes late, like I am tonight. That was not the intent either. So many things going on in this poor guy's life. Time is my enemy. Time is the critical thing that I just don't have enough of it. And it's not that I poorly manage my time. I really don't think that I do. My life is managing time. That's my job. I'm just being pulled in so many directions at the same time. There's this going on, there's that going on. I mean, in the last... Holy smokes. Like in the last 4 or 5 days, I've made some rather serious commitments. And I haven't even come close to committing to the things I really want to commit to. Like a good insane asylum, sanitarium. Or is it sanatorium? Well, I'm going to be taking you to a sanitarium tonight. That I promise you. That much I promise you. Let's get a look at you. Let's see who is populating the different platforms. We've got no shortage of strangers hanging out at Pilled Foxhole, the home of free speech in America, and wonderful people. Crazy Chuck with a K is in the house. Willie Fix-It with us. Paul Thaddeus, my brother, how you doing, man? It has been a minute. Starface 15, always good to see you, my brother. Hope everything is groovy. There is Maddie's mom, right on time. Purple Pixie, what are you doing, little lady? Good to see you. Hope everything is good in your world. Let's get a Rumble. Let's get a look at Rumble. Can you believe that this is show number 599? 599. Seems like we just had our 500th show, and I I gave away a bunch of stuff. There are at least 2 people watching at Rumble, and I don't know who they are, but I love them. Thank you for being there. It is always a pleasure to see your smiling face. It says there's at least 2 watching at YouTube, which is, hey, I'll take it. That's what you get when you show up 15 minutes late. Everybody else's show starts on time at 6, and they go, oh, fuck, I'll go over there. At least that motherfucker's on time. Of course, my tried and true gang, my lemon gang, they never let me down. They're here regardless. Willie Fix-It, Syllabore, Jayla17, Spudley. Yes, time does keep flowing like a river to the sea. Bad Zoot, Black Cat 5. Great to see all these people. Val Kimber, my brother, my longtime brother. Good to see you. Where do they come from? I know not where, but I certainly am glad to look up and see their smiling faces. Yeah, this has been, seriously, one for the record books. My Sunday night, like an hour before my show started. An hour before my show started, I had reached out. I had finished up my Sunday stream, which was a monster. It was 5 hours long, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. We played some great albums on the 7th day. Got some wonderful feedback from that show. Great emails, couple of texts, people saying, dude, you know how to pick them, which further fuels the fire for a guy like me. I think it's fun to have a show like that that's kind of a throwback show. I'm kind of a throwback guy. What can I say? My Sunday, after that show, right, I take a sigh of relief. I end literally in time to throw my crowd over on Pilled Foxhole. You have this little option. It's called a raid, and you can choose somebody else's platform, and you can send all the people watching your show over to their platform. Phil Bradley, good to see you, my man. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. So, Sunday, I was cooped in this room all day. Saturday was kind of a mucky, overcast, shitty day. But Sunday was this drop-dead, gorgeous, sunshiny, 76, just one of the most... You ever read that magazine? What is it? Is it Travel Plus Leisure? Is that it? No. It's one of those airline magazines. It might be Delta or United. I think it's what it is. I think it's United's in-flight magazine that you find behind the back seat of the guy in front of you. It's called 3 Perfect Days, and it'll tell you what to do when visiting, like, Italy. 3 perfect days in Italy. Well, that's what it felt like. I sat here all day on Sunday playing the 7th day, and I just looked outside, and I'm saying to myself, God, this is one of those 3 perfect days kind of a day. I really need to get out and get on that bike, and I did. I mean, I no sooner hung up the show, and I went and I fired up Peggy, and we went for a ride, a beautiful ride. I stopped at the meat market, picked up some Dinsky. It was beautiful. It's just absolutely a beautiful day. And then I decided at long last, on days like that, as much as I love going fast, days like that, sunny days with no destination, no responsibility, I had in my mind a pretty good idea for my Sunday night show, and I was going to follow through. So I head for home. I take the bike and I take the long way home. Take the long way home. I did, and it was wonderful. But my vest, my Harley Davidson vest. Damn it, she's seen a few too many states, people. That damn vest has, she has really been around the block, and it's falling apart at the seams. The leather is nice. But the it's not silk, it's nylon. The nylon pockets are all rotten, and there's an inside pocket here that has separated from the front of the vest. So as long as I like open it up and make sure I get my goodies inside the pocket, they're at least safe. But there's 2 coin pockets on the front, and then there's 2 side pockets. The only side pocket left that works is my left hand pocket. The 2 coin pockets, the silk is gone, or the nylon is gone. So anything I'm putting in there drops down into the leather and rolls around the bottom. The problem is that the leather over on this side has become separated at the seam, and things like quarters and keys and things of that nature tend to fall out. So I came out of the meat market, and I was looking for something on my phone, and like a complete maroon, I took my phone and I put it in my right pocket. Now, I must preface this from a week earlier. One week ago, last weekend, I also went for a very nice motorcycle ride. This time I think I went on Saturday afternoon, evening. And this time I had both of my phones with me. Both of my phones. My work phone. This is my work phone. And my personal phone, which is actually just a tad bigger, a tad wider. And I spent a lot of money on it. It's got a lot of megabytes, whatever you call it. It's the biggest. I do my editing on it and everything, so I got the big version, the 512 megabyte instead of the 56K, whatever that was. I don't know. Don't ask me about that stuff. I don't know anything about it. So anyway, last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before, I am coming back to home, and I pull in the driveway, and I reach in my pocket. Something seems wrong here. I reach in and I pull out my personal phone. That's funny. Where's my work phone? I lost my work phone. So Mrs. Zoe was literally putting dinner on the table, and I'm like, honey, gotta go. I gotta go find my phone. And I retraced my steps at 100 miles an hour. I mean, I got on that bike and I was just, because I know what to look for. I'm looking for a phone in the middle of the road. And no gots. I did not find it. Strangely enough, after like 45 minutes of searching, I limp my sorry ass back home, only to find I walk in the door and Mrs. Zoe says, "You're not going to believe it, but somebody found your phone." I'm like, "You're kidding me." She gave me the phone number. Very nice people. They were out for a walk, and they looked in the street and said, "Look at that. That looks like a cell phone." And thanks to the ruggedness of this industrial case that I bought for my work phone, it survived. Now, I will say, it did land face down, and I have these very good hardened glass, the things you can hit with a hammer, on the front cover of this. And that was, of course, destroyed. The phone landed face down and, again, was run over by a car. So when I first saw it, when I first found the lady and I got my phone back, I thought to myself, oh, shit, here we go. Because at work, I have a little bit of a history of losing phones. I've lost them in a variety of ways, amazing ways. I have dropped them down inside of catch basins filled with water. I was leaning over a third-story rail once, looking down to the people below, and my phone fell out of my pocket and went right down into a concrete pour, never to be seen again. I have run one over with a forklift. I'm infamous at work. Anytime I go to them and I say, I have a deal with my phone, they're like, sure, Al, sure. Anyway, I got it back. And when I peeled off the front little protective plastic thing, the very hard, thick, hit it with a hammer kind of a deal, the phone was perfect. It was perfect. I was ecstatic. I ran out. I bought a new one. I put it on there. Actually, I had a couple in reserve in my room. That's what I did. And I was tickled. I was absolutely tickled. Now, with my personal phone, which is bigger, better, badder, more expensive, more computational power, just a really bitchin' phone. It is a Samsung Ultra. It's the bad boy on the block. I do all my editing on it. I've got all my videos from my road trips on it. I mean, everything. My world is in that phone. If something ever happens to it, I'm toast. So I get back Sunday night, and I open up the side cases on my motorcycle, and I reach inside, and I grab the jug of milk Mrs. Zoe asked for, and I grab the stuff I bought at the meat market again, and I come strolling in, and I'm like, oh, my phones. I go out, and I'm like, I open up the flapper because I have a little toolkit underneath, and I could have sworn that that's where I put it, but obviously I did not. I put my phone in my fucking pocket, my right pocket, the one with the hole that falls right out onto the ground, that pocket. So there we were, me and my missing phone, and I'm like, I turned to Mrs. Zoe, and she's just like, I don't even know what to say. And I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it. I'm going looking for my phone. Fortunately, I didn't get a quarter of a mile away from the house. And as I'm driving down, again, this time very rapidly, because by this time 3 Beer Men has started, and I'm supposed to be putting together notes for my show that night. This is about 5 o'clock, so it's about 1 hour until I'm supposed to be on the air on Sunday night. I go flying down Pioneer Road. And the first thing I see, I can see it in the distance. I see 2 little white things. Now, I know what those are. I know what those 2 little white things are. They are the 2 halves of the Pelican protective case for my phone, which is a military-grade, very high-dollar, badass freaking case for my personal phone, which also had, again, a form-fit, one of these hit-it-with-a-hammer type motherfuckers, the little glass, protective glass. I had it all. But as I'm riding down the road, I see it. I see it about, I swear to God, I see them about a 1/16 of a mile away. I'm like, those look like the 2 halves of my case. And as I get closer, yes, my greatest fears are realized. There are the 2 halves of my case. So I'm like, okay, well, where's my phone? And I'm thinking to myself, I must have passed it. So I flip a bitch, and I come back, and what do I see? Blowing down the street, blowing now in the wind. But here is my hardened plastic lens, my hardened glass lens, whatever it is. It's probably plastic. But there it is. And it looks like it has been pummeled with a ball-peen hammer about 6,000 times. So at this point, any hope of finding my phone in good working condition has flown out the window. At this point, I just want to find my phone. And I look a little further, and I see this little black thing, kind of half on the road, half off the road in the gravel, you know, where the little white stripe is on the side before it goes down in the ditch. And I'm like, there it is. There's my phone, which tells me it's been run over. Because obviously, if the case was out in the middle of the road where it fell out of my pocket, it landed, split in midair, the case came apart, the phone went tumbling, then it got run over and it got taken for a ride by the back tire of whatever. It had to be a pretty good vehicle, because let me tell you, my phone is destroyed. Just utterly. The front, the back, the camera, the 5 cameras on the back, they're done. The glass on the front, 'tis no more, gone. I'm saying to myself, self, you're fucked. And I was. Pardon my French. I'm sorry. I don't need to be this negative, but I licked my wounds and I picked up the broken pieces. I got my case back, which, believe it or not, the case is still fine. I looked at this poor sorry phone, and believe it or not, it was still running. It was still working, although even though half the screen was gone. So I tried to manipulate the buttons on the side, and wouldn't you know, it lit up, but I was unable to punch in my. It would only accept like the 3 buttons, like the 2 and the 3 and the 6. I could manipulate those, but my code involves some of the other numbers that are now in this little black mess of goo. And I came back to the house and I was so damn dejected. I'm like, 2 weeks in a row, 2 phones in a row. I can't do a show tonight. So I sent Cosmac and the boys a handful of gold pills and said, please spread the word. No show tonight. Zoe's just not in the mood, and I wasn't. I have to be, I'm a jovial fellow by nature. My glass is half full all of the time. It takes an extraordinary sequence of events to put me in a negative Nelly kind of mood. And when I say sequence of events, I mean something like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week's work week for me. I'm continuing to have a wonderful time down at my job site, where I have painters painting the building the wrong color. I have carpenters hanging this venting around the building, and it looks like they took this metal vent. I'm going to show you some pictures. Because even though I know some of you aren't carpenters, you would probably look at this and say to yourself, I don't know if that's going to fly or not. Allow me to humor you with a couple of photos, because I think you'll readily enjoy these as much as I did. I want you guys to kind of experience what my day might be like. Let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can find this one particular text, because I thought it was quite humorous myself. I really thought it was one of my better outings. Here we go. Forward. ZoSoDude at protonmail.com. Adding. Done. Sending. Okay. Give me just a minute to open this up, because I want to see if you guys share in my sense of amazement. I love to be amazed. I'd love to be amazed. Maybe I'm amazed. Really, I love being amazed by things, especially at work. Especially at work, when I'm at work and I'm walking along and I look up at something and I stare at it for a second and I'm like, I wonder what the person who did that, I wonder what they were thinking. I really wonder what they were thinking when they stepped down off of the ladder and sat back and looked at that. Did they say to themselves, boy, that's a fine piece of craftsmanship right there? Or did they say to themselves, maybe I'll get away with that? You know, somewhere between the two. Holy smokes, my buddy Salty Nuts has just dropped a whole bunch of people in my lap. I appreciate you, Salty. Thank you kindly. It's always a pleasure to see your smiling face. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for bringing them. Thanks for dropping the kids off at the pool. Okay, here we go. Let me open this up and let me download some of these because I want you to enjoy every moment of these. Let's see. Can I download from here? No, that's not right. Let's go back up here. There we go. Oh, yes. Perfect. Folks, kindly, I am so curious. I am so curious to get your critique of what I'm about to share with you, because this is truly unusual. Imagine that you are in charge of a construction project, okay? And you have men that have torn down an existing ceiling. Now, it is an open-eaved building, which means the soffits breathe, which means there has to be at least a vent around the outside of the building for air to go in and go out. That's what prevents buildings from rotting, is a source of fresh air. So there are, in modern times, these 10-foot-long pieces of vent, and you just create a notch in your side, in your soffit, and you tuck this little piece of aluminum vent in there, and it paints nicely. Looks like $1 million. It lets tons of air in. So imagine, I'm gonna pose a question to you. You are in charge of a construction project. You are nearing the end. The painter is coming tomorrow. And the last thing that the men had to do was put up these little pieces of aluminum vent in a nice square rectangle around a courtyard. It is approximately 3 feet above your head, so it's very easy to see. It might be just 6 inches out of your reach, but it is, for all intents and purposes, it's right there in front of your face. So you're walking around the second-story deck, and you glance up, and you look, and you see a piece of vent that looks like this. It looks like this. Let me blow this up a little bit. I want you to savor the flavor. Does anybody see something awry in this picture? Does anybody think that looks less than perfect? Well, hang on. Let me show you where they mitered the corner. Yes, this is nice. Let me give you a close-up of this corner. That looks pretty interesting. Can you see it? Can you see it well enough? I really want you to I want you to really admire the craftsmanship. The craftsmanship. How about that? If you glanced up, if you were to glance up and you saw something all wrinkled and destroyed and kinked and bashed in and wavy, would you say to yourself, I could probably get away with that? Could you walk away from that and say, yeah, it'll probably fly? Due diligence, you just said it all. I grabbed the guy today and I said, brother, I said, these are some of the more difficult conversations that I have to have with my subcontractors, but nonetheless, let's take a walk, you and me. Let's take a walk. And I said, this isn't the Taj Mahal. It's not the White House. I certainly don't expect it to look like, winds down in Las Vegas. No one's going to confuse this place with Caesar's Palace or any of the fine resorts down in, Palm Springs or some of the fancier places in town. I said, but, you got to give the devil his due. And I said, do you think, and I walked right underneath this corner, and I didn't even look at it. I just pointed up. I said, do you think, if you were in charge of this, do you think you could turn to the owner of this complex and say to him, yeah, there you go. That's as good as we do. That's today's industry standard. And he looked at me and he goes, he just kind of face palmed himself. He kind of face palmed himself. And he goes, man, I can't be everywhere at once. And I said, that's exactly why I'm grabbing you now. That's why we're having a friendly little chat. We're doing a nice little walkabout. It's so that I enjoy these friendly little chats. What I don't like is blowing a gasket. That's the part that's not fun for me. Now, had this already gone to the end and gotten painted by the painter, then you and I might be having a very different conversation. I said, but we're both agents of good fortune. You have the opportunity to replace this before the painter gets here. And he goes, I know. So he did. Grinder and paint for the welder, I ain't. Says impeach them all. That's brand spanking new, Prairie Fire. That is brand spanking new. Let me show you one more time. Let's just savor the moment. Let's savor the moment. There's the first one. There's the second one. That's really a beautiful job right there. I like how the screw is sticking out about 1.5 inches right there. The retaining screw is still sticking out. I could park a truck in that gap. And then there's this. A little bit wavy. Wait, right here, this outer lip looks like it got run over by a car. Yeah, look at that. That is like 1/4 of an inch indentation. But seriously, folks. So, being the good-natured fool that I am, I said to him, "Hey, do you think that we could get that cleaned up? Do you think we get that cleaned up by Friday? Because I would really love to paint this place I would love to paint this place on Monday. So they're going to give it a go. They're going to give it a go, and we'll see what happens. we'll see what happens. But 208 Outdoors says, looks like they cut it with a chainsaw. All right, folks, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to get a few laughs in tonight. Tonight is about Zoso laughing. Seriously, tonight is about your brother. Your brother Zo needs a laugh, and we are going to laugh together, I promise you. So bear with me. I will see you on the other side. I will see you on the other side of this little ditty right here. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're hanging out with me. Thanks for being here. Your brother Zo loves you. We'll see you right after this.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of the 1975 Lincoln Continental. Created in a time when America's unrivaled car culture, which had dominated the globe for over 60 years, was just coming to a close, the Continental was a giant middle finger at the world that was now looking to save gas by bringing in imported cars promising 30-plus miles per gallon. With its boxed shape, laughing at the laws of aerodynamics, it lumbered through the atmosphere, requiring unbridled amounts of horsepower, averaging a mere 9 to 10 miles per gallon, that is, if it was going downhill with a tailwind. The most luxurious of all the Continentals was, of course, the White Privilege Edition, which boasted a 460 cubic inch mill blasting out an amazing 365 horsepower. It was the very height of American luxury for its time. With a top speed of 125 miles per hour, the 6,669-pound vehicle required disc brakes at all four wheels just to slow it down, a feature only seen on Ferraris and Jags of the day. Its creature comforts included things like opera windows, reading lights for every passenger, cigarette lighters in every corner of the vehicle, and a powered antenna for the radio that included the very latest innovation at the time, a cassette tape player. The dash, with its resplendent sumptuosity, featured real imitation burl wood. The driver could adjust both side mirrors right from the command console. With its four-note horn barking at passers-by, observers would merely stare at the rolling opulence of the White Privilege Edition as it went by, literally wishing that someday its utter lavishness could someday be their very own.
The truth of the matter is, not everybody can afford to drive one of these. You know, at 10 miles a gallon, gas approaching $5 a gallon, it's just not for everybody. You have to be kind of a arrogant prick to drive one of these. And I fit the bill. One thing's for sure, you sure don't see a whole lot of them on the road.
Yes, I know it is super overmodulated. Unfortunately, that's the way it was recorded. I had one take, and one take only at that, Spud, when I did it in the afternoon at my work, and I didn't realize I was hollering and gasping for air and all that. If I ever have time on my hands, I will re-record that, because I thought it was kind of funny. It was meant just as a joke. That entire thing is just meant as a joke. It's never intended to offend anyone. That's just, yeah. Man, oh man. So, I needed to laugh tonight. Rolls down one hill, can hardly get up the next. Yeah, I think, it's sad. I think that the rear, reverse is going out in her. I just put a new battery in it, and I got her starting. I mean, she starts like that. She purrs like a kitten, but it only goes forward. It does not go in reverse. So every time I come home, I have to kind of like park on a hill and then roll backwards so I can turn around to go out my driveway again the next time. I'm just not prepared to put a $3,000 tranny in it right now, as much as I want to drive that car right now more than anything in the world. It's rolling opulence. It really is. I love that thing. I love that freaking car. Anyway, I mentioned at the beginning of the show with the week that I've had, I think I mentioned briefly, besides the little venting issue I showed you, the painter painted my building the wrong color. I have 9 guys on my crew, 9 men on my personal crew. I've got 20 other guys working on the job, but my personal crew is a 9-man crew, and they're really they're the best. These guys are working their asses off. And what we're doing is we are stripping an old roof off, a 60-year-old roof off of 2 matching buildings and putting a brand new metal roof on. And the way that you do that is you have 9 guys up on the roof pulling up tile, then they pull up the black paper, then they pull up the little wooden cleats that have been holding the tile in place for the last 60 years. And, then we put down the new stuff. After, of course, repairing the rot and all of that kind of interesting things that we're finding. But it's regimented, man. It is. I've been doing it so long at this point that I have a setup with my company. I have a gigantic dumpster on my property, and I have this forklift that will shoot a huge bucket. I mean, it's 6 feet wide, it's 7 feet long, and it's about 5 feet deep. And I pick it up with this forklift, and I shoot it all the way up in the air, up on top of the building, and they throw all the old tiles in there. And once they fill it up, I just drive down, I drive over to the dumpster, I pull the little chain, and the thing goes ka-ching and empties all the old tile in there. And I send it back up again, and they fill it up again. And we've been going like gangbusters. I mean, we've been doing this now for about 4 weeks straight. So we are professionals. And the deal is, I need one dumpster, empty dumpster at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I need another empty dumpster right at 12 noon. So here we are. We are killing it. We are just absolutely tearing it a new one. Filled that dumpster up. Here comes lunchtime. Okay, boys, come on down. Let's do some lunch. He'll be here any minute. And the dumpster guy never shows up. So I call. No answer. I call the office. I get a recorded message. I start texting. Where's my dumpster? I have 8 men here. I have 9 men here making $63 an hour standing around because there's no work for them to do because my dumpster guy didn't show up. And that dumpster guy works for my company. He's my driver. Where is he? That's the kind of a week it has been. Anyway, I got the better of him today. I made him we have 2 dumpsters in tandem. He picks up my full dumpster, he drags it out of the way, he puts an empty dumpster in its place, and he takes that one and he goes and he empties it. While he's emptying that one, we're filling up the old one. By the time he gets back, that son of a bitch is full. All right, just hook up to that, pull it out, let's do it again. I kept him there for 6 in a row today. 6 in a row, back to back to back to back to back. I worked his little hiney off. It was wonderful. It was truly splendid. I wanted to initially, I wanted to share with you, I was going to do a retrospective, as I always do. You know me, I got 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the present, 1 foot in the future. You ask, why do you have 3 feet, Zoe? That's a darn good question. I don't know. But I wanted to play like some old comedy records that we remember from days gone by. And I wanted to pit it against today's comedy. There are some, I recently, maybe 6 months ago, 9 months ago, I shared some new comedians that I have come across. A couple of ladies that were very funny. A couple of guys. You know, I need a laugh every now and then. But I have to admit, I mean, there's a lot of comics that just, I can watch their entire bit. And it just doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if comics are getting lazier or they're just not as funny as they once were. That's why I like to compare the new comics against the old comics, because the old comics, I mean, first of all, you couldn't even see them. You had to listen to them on a record, right? There was no internet. There was no videos. You listened to them on a record player, and they made you laugh. I mean, they made you freaking laugh. I'm talking the Richard Pryors and the, you know, the Bill Cosbys and the you know, obviously George is the king of them. I thought for fun, it's been a while. I'm sure you're probably bored to death with us, and I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you if you told me that you were bored with us. But I think I'm going to play it anyway. Okay? Just sit through this one, okay? Because I'm going to play an old one, and then I'm going to play a new comic. And I promise, this new comic, he is going to make you laugh. He is going to make you laugh, this new comic. All right? I promise you're going to like him. Where's this? Am I going here? No, I want this one right here. There it is. That's what I want. That's what I want. Now, I know you've heard this a million times in your freaking life, but just bear with me, okay? Just bear with me on this one. Listen to it one more time for old time's sake, okay? Just listen to it one last time for old time's sake, because this is the old comedy that I'm comparing the new comedy to, all right? I mean, there was a time, and you'll admit this with me, there was a time when every time you heard this, it made you at least giggle, okay? It made you at least giggle? All right. Bear with me. You know where I'm going. I think you know where I'm going. Let's do this. I'll see you on the other side of this one. Don't go anywhere. Just listen to this.
There's a fellow by the name of Noah, built an ark. Everybody knows he built an ark. You say, what did Noah do? You say, well, he built an ark. But very few people know about the conversation that went on between the Lord and Noah. You see, Noah was in his rec room sawing away. He was making a few things for the home there. He's a good carpenter. Vuba, 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 vuba. Noah. Somebody call? Vuba, vuba, vuba. Noah. Who is that? It's the Lord, Noah. Right. Where are you? What do you want? I've been good. I want you to build.
Hang on a second, my friends. Hang on. Okay, I completely forgot. Those of you over on YouTube, I hate to do this to you, but they will pull the plug on my program if I play this over on YouTube. So Phil Bradley, Rain Cry, Teresa Cerna, G Gab, see those links right up above you? Just go to the top of the chat right there. There are 3 different links up there. 3 different links. Please click on one of those and watch the rest of the show either on Rumble or DLive or Foxhole, okay? Because I'm going to have to pull the plug on the YouTube. They're going to shoot me down. They're going to turn it off right in the middle of the show. So I made a mistake. I knew when I got to this part I would have to. Please do me that favor. Just pick one of those and go to it, because I love you YouTubers, I really do, but I'm gonna turn off the YouTube feed right now, because this will get me in big trouble, and I already have enough trouble. I really do. Okay. I will see you guys at the other channels. Please bear with me. All right. I am removing YouTube. Love ya. Love ya. Please join me on one of the others. Thank you. Good night.